Hey everyone, hope you're all really well. Sorry if this kind of goes in and out of focus, and also I'm staring at the viewfinder because it is quite dodgy in this camera. But the reason being, I left my charger for my camera at my boyfriend's house, so I'm using this camera instead, and it's not quite as good, but I can see myself in it, so I'm just kind of like making sure I'm in focus the whole time because it's very temperamental with that. Anyway, I hope you're all really well. And now today's video is going to be something a little different, as you can tell from the title. It's actually going to be about clearing and also my experience with it. So for those of you who don't know, A-level results are coming up soon, and for a lot of people these results are really important. Well, for everyone they are really important, but for some people their university they want to go to depends on these results. And unfortunately I was like in this position I'm in my second year of uni now, so 2 or 3 years ago, I'm not quite sure. Well, I got my results and I didn't get the results I needed to get into my dream university to do anthropology and archaeology, which was UCL. I needed AAB and I flopped and I got BBC. I had to go through clearing. And it all ends up really well. I'm still doing anthropology and archaeology at the University of Kent, which is still, if you're UK, like it's a relatively good uni. And it was in one of my 5 choices. I should have really put it in my insurance, but for some reason I just like put Bristol as my insurance. But actually, in the end, I think I wanted to go to Kent more than I did want to go to Bristol. So essentially, I kind of got the equivalent to my insurance choice, so I was really happy about that. However, I did not feel prepared enough for clearing. I didn't really even know what clearing was. Like, my school was really good. I didn't go to private school, I went to a state school, but they were really good. And the sixth form was so good at like educating you about like the different options from university. Like they did talks and apprenticeships, talks and loads of. I just felt there wasn't really enough advice given to me on it. I kind of went blindsided into the event, like the, I don't know what to call it, like the journey of going through clearing. And I know a lot of my friends did who also went through clearing, and I feel like it's kind of not something schools want to encourage, because they don't want to say that, oh, like, oh well, there's always clearing, should you not do well, because they want you to obviously get your grades and do well. That's what and clearing is essentially when our people applied to the original course, there were spaces left, and then they make these spaces available to everybody else who like now has nowhere to go, if that makes sense. So like there are spaces left on courses, there are people with no university to go to, these people apply for spaces in clearing. That's that anyway, that's what clearing is. Now my story, I've already kind of touched up on it already, so the full, like the day and like my thought process and stuff like that. You wake up, like when most of you wake up on the 8th of August, the first thing you'll do is you will log on to your UCAS or whatever you're applying through. You'll have a look and you'll see what you've applied to, and you'll see if the university has accepted or rejected you. I did this, it was like 7 AM, UCL had rejected me, Bristol hadn't said anything about me. So I was like, oh shit, okay, I haven't got the grades I needed for UCL, but Bristol haven't rejected me, so I've probably got like BBB or maybe ABB. So I was kind of like, oh no, but I wasn't thinking too disastrous. And then I got to results day and I opened my results at school and I was really upset, and like it still kind of upsets me how badly I did in those last set of results, because I really feel like they're not a true reflection of how hard I worked or my capabilities. But that's by the by. Like, I'm really sorry if some of you don't get the results you want. Like, it's a really horrible thing to go through, especially if you've worked hard. Yeah, that happened, and I kind of just went into autopilot mode. I was like, right, what do I do? Like, where did I apply? How can I go through clearing? So I just started calling up all the universities that I'd applied to. So I applied to 5 universities for anthropology and archaeology, and I got 5 conditional offers, which means like, yes, they'd let me in if I got these certain grades. And I applied to Durham, UCL, Bristol, Kent and Exeter. The night before results day, I'd had emails from Kent and Exeter saying there were still places for students. I was like, okay, well I can try them out. Bristol were doing like nothing at this point. They kind of kept me in limbo on UCAS. So the first people I called up were UCL, and that's what I kind of recommend for you to do, is call up the university, your first choice, which you missed out on. Called them like soon as the office administrative officer was in, Charlotte, and I was just like, I know I'm way off the grades I needed, but is there any way like I can keep my offer for next year, retake my modules and just like keep the conditional offer? And she said no, just because of the admin thing doesn't really work like that. But she was like, because of how you've she was like, I remember your application, it was one of our strongest applications, which, you know, wasn't like, kind of almost like salt to the wounds at this point. We will still give you an offer next year should you wish to retake and then hit your grades. So I was like, okay, I won't be going to UCL this year, but should I retake, I could do it next year. But then that's kind of like thing of like, do I want to be a year behind all my friends? All my friends were going to university. A couple of them went through clearing, but basically all of them were going to go to university bar 1 or 2. I had no plans for a gap year. I didn't really want to do one, and I just didn't really want to do that, but I knew it was there as an option. So then I called up Bristol and left them a message, I think, like just saying like, I just want to know, like, have I been accepted or rejected? What's the situation? I didn't get a call back, and then I saw like an email popped up on my UCAS saying something has changed with the application. I was like, okay, that's Bristol. I went onto it, rejected. I was like, great. So obviously what happened was, this is what I think, like Bristol had me as an option, but then they opened up clearing to see if anybody else wanted to come in over me with like good grades, better grades than myself. Obviously they got quite a few people, so they bumped me off the list, which I kind of didn't mind because I didn't really want to go to Bristol in the end. Like, I'd rather go to Kent over Bristol. I just put Bristol in because it's regarded as a better uni, but when I went there, for my course in particular, I didn't really like it, and I was quite happy about that. Kent, which I'd never visited, but it was one of my 5 choices. I was like, okay, so I called them, called clearing assistant people, then I did like, they had like an online thing, did all of that, so I filled all that in. Then I called Exeter and they were like, no, there's none left on the main campus, there's only left on this one, so your course doesn't have any any spaces left. I had a quick look on to, UCAS do have a clearing site where all the places are. I think the Telegraph do as well. And I had a look, and to be honest, like, my course is so particular, I can't even say the other word. My course is so particular. I get a phone call from Kent, and it was from the biological anthropology department, and he was like, I've just been reading through your application, I saw you like apply to Kent before, we'd love to offer you it. And I'm like, thank God, thank God, thank God. But then he said like formal a BSc in anthropology, and I went, I don't know whether this is a brave thing to do or a stupid thing to do, but it worked out at the time. I said, no, I really want to do archaeology and anthropology. Can you please speak to the archaeology department? And he was like, well, I can, or you could accept this offer now and then wait and see. And I was like, I was just like in a frenzy mood at this point. I was like, I don't want to wait and see. I want to know if I could do anthropology and archaeology. Like, this is what I want to do, both of these. And I'm really glad I did actually say that, because now I'm at university doing it, I'm enjoying like the classic side quite a lot more than the social side. Anyway, that's by the by. Happened. I think 20 minutes later he was like, they're more than happy to have you. So logged on to UCAS, did all that, the technical stuff, and boom, I was going to Kent. And I think considering my situation at the time, most people would have been like, that's so good, like you still got into like a top 20 uni, like you must be so happy. And I was like determined to be miserable about it. Like, I was kind of relieved because it meant I wasn't staying in Guildford, but I was really like torn at the time, and I didn't know whether I wanted to retake or whether I wanted to go to uni, go to this place I've never been to before. Like, bear in mind, because all my hopes were riding on UCL, I hadn't even visited the other universities, so when I got my offer from there, I was like, just rejected everyone else. I was kind of like, in the give it a go, you only have to be there 3 weeks and come back. And then obviously I got there and I was fine, and obviously I loved it and I'm staying there now. But literally before that, like, I was so upset. It still kind of hurts a little bit. And I feel like everyone's going to comment like, you're being really melodramatic, but like, it is really upsetting when, especially because UCL was somewhere I'd like dreamed of going for ages. Like, I'm one of those strange people, like, I really like my course. I'm not just doing it for the sake of it. Like, I really enjoy it. I really enjoy especially the classics archaeology side. Like, I just find classics so interesting, and like UCL was literally my dream. Like, I really wanted to be in London as well. Where I live now, Guildford, it's lovely. Like, I'm so lucky to live here, but it is quite quiet, so I wanted to move to like a really fast-paced place. And Canterbury is not a fast-paced place. It's really lovely, but it's not fast at all. And yeah, I was really upset. Like, I was probably quite nasty to people around me just because I was in a really like down place. And I think unless you kind of get rejected from like your dream unis as well, it's like a really hard thing to understand, especially when like the end result has actually been pretty good. Like, I got into one of my 5 original choices and got the grades I need, and for the exact same course. I got accommodation, which was my next big worry, that I wouldn't get accommodation. So once you've done that, like, apply for accommodation as quickly as you can. Usually during clearing like application process, you can tick like you also want to apply for accommodation. So that was good. I got Parkwood, which I loved more like. And yeah, that was that. That was kind of my clearing story. Honestly, I can't tell you now I made the right choice by not doing a year's retaking. I am so happy at Kent, like, I really enjoy it there, but like, there's still a part of me which is like, I wish I'd gone to UCL. A part of me which I was like, maybe like I would have been happier at UCL, but I think I need to just kind of like, that's not so much the social side. I think the social side, wherever you go, it's up to you to make the most of it. Or like living in London, education side of it. By the by, like, I have made a decision, and the reason I decided not to take another year out was because, well, I've kind of already addressed that, but the other thing was, what if I retook the year and I didn't get my grades? It's a pretty good deal. I got one of my top 5 unis, that course with accommodation. Like, as far as clearing goes, it doesn't get better than that. So I was pretty happy with that. I rambled a bit about my story. I can kind of give my advice to you if you don't get your grades. So, as upsetting as it is, and as heartbroken as you probably are when you get the paper and you realise like you haven't got to your university of choice, just keep it together. Just go into autopilot, like kind of dissociate yourself from your emotions and think to yourself, what do I need to do? Because you have to remember, as you're applying, there are thousands and thousands of other students who are also applying to these places, and you are now competing with them. And as much as like it doesn't come on a first come first serve basis, like it shouldn't come on a first come first case basis, in a lot of places it does. So just like, you know, get out there and be really quick with that. As soon as you wake up, see, set your alarm and things, like don't dawdle around, get them in the morning, check your UCAS, see what's happening. If you've been accepted, well done, you've probably got your grades, or you've just missed them slightly and they've accepted you, that's great. If you've been rejected, I'm really sorry to hear that first of all, like I know it sucks. But also, the university you've applied to as your first choice should be your first port of call to phone. Straight away, as soon as the office opens, and speak to them. And sometimes it's just automatic, especially at bigger unis, they just reject you straight away without, like if you were just 1 grade shy or 2 grades shy but you were close to the boundaries and you tell them this on the phone, you never know what might happen. So it's always worth calling. Should that fail, your next step is to go through clearing. And this is if both your first choice and your insurance have rejected you. However, I had a friend who didn't want her insurance and went through clearing and did better. So bear that in mind if you're not keen on your insurance, that you can still go through clearing, but it's a bit more technical. Sure, you kind of know, if you think you haven't done very well, like you kind of know before you go in, like you have an inkling, like I did. Maybe research a few unis beforehand. The top 5 you've applied to will all kind of send you emails throughout the week being like, have you thought about Kent, clearing, blah blah blah, things like that. And all the key numbers you need beforehand, have them in one place in hand and do it. Call the universities, that's the best thing to do, and they can advise you. Don't be doing something like stupid, like if you've been rejected from somewhere, don't call a better uni unless you're like going. The thing is, like, really bear if you definitely want to go. I've like kind of touched upon the fact that I wasn't entirely sure if I wanted to. I'm so glad I did now, but like my friend, for example, applied through clearing for like a completely different course in a completely different place she'd never been to. It was in Wales, and it was miles away from home, and she wouldn't have got accommodation. And it kind of, I think at some point you need to learn, like, there are some things you need to just say no to and not compromise, especially if you really think you could have got another year, would have given you the grades you needed. So for me, like, had I not got accommodation, I probably wouldn't have gone to university this year. I would have waited another year. Had I not been able to get the course I wanted, I wouldn't have gone. And had I not probably had one of my top 5 unis, or at least a relatively decent uni, I wouldn't have gone. These are all like kind of my 3 things. So like the first thing was the university, which was good, I got it. The second thing was the course, which was great, got it. And then it was all kind of pending on the accommodation, and by this point I was like, if I can't get accommodation, I'm not going to uni. I will take a year out, work and save for a year, and then also revise and retake the exams I need to retake. Like, everything worked out fine. And just remember that when you go through clearing, I guess, like, know when to stop compromising. About it, really. Just make sure like you do a bit of research beforehand and know kind of who does clearing and who's available for it. Really hope for the best. Like, even if you go and you're still not sure, most universities, but look it up beforehand, have a 2 or 3 week period where you can go. If you hate it, you can go home, and they don't charge you for that year. You might be charged a terms accommodation, I'm not entirely sure, but most of them have like that grace period where if you're unsure you can. So I hope that helped some of you. I know it was a bit jaggedy and all over the place, but it was kind of like more like a sit down chatty story time video. All made sense. If you do have any questions, like please leave them below. I know clearing and results day is a really daunting and scary time. Oh, I'm out of focus. There we go. It's a really daunting and scary time. Like I've been there. I didn't get the grades I needed. That was pretty shit. I didn't really. I really like I said, like it's quite disappointing to me. But it is what it is, and everything has worked out so well. Unsure of like the technical side because I haven't kind of got into that with all the UCAS things. Like talk to UCAS, they're going to be really busy this time of year, but maybe give them a call and be like, look, I'm worried I haven't got my grades, like what do I do with clearing if I don't get my first choice, if I get my insurance choice, but I definitely don't want to go to my insurance choice anymore. So yeah, talk to them, they're the best people to talk about it. Hopefully this all makes sense, but really you just have to kind of be on it on the day. My advice would be, like my top bit of advice would be to just apply for places and then kind of decide later if that's definitely what you want to do. For watching this video, please subscribe and let me know if you like this video by giving it a thumbs up, and also if you want more videos like this, just about general like life, because it's confusing sometimes. Alright, that's it up. Bye!